I thought this night would change everything, and it did, just not the way I expected. The room was filled with warm lights, familiar faces, soft laughter. It was my 35th birthday, and for the first time in months, I felt something like hope. My wife had reserved a beautiful restaurant, the kind you only go to for special moments. Our friends and family were gathered. The cake was on the table. Then came the toast. She stood up, clinked her glass. Everyone leaned in, smiling, waiting for something sweet. Maybe a memory, maybe a joke. But what she said next shattered the entire night. I have something important to announce. I've filed for divorce. Before we begin, drop your country and time in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels. It was my 35th birthday. My wife had planned a beautiful dinner at a restaurant I'd always wanted to visit. The lights were soft, the ambiance warm, and all our close friends and family were already seated, smiling. For the first time in a long time, I felt something stir in my chest. Hope. We'd been distant lately. Silent dinners, cold mornings, and words that didn't land the way they used to. But tonight felt different. I thought maybe this was her way of saying she wanted to fix things, reconnect, try again. I sat down at the long table and thanked everyone for being there. She smiled at me, but it wasn't the smile I remembered. There was something strange about it. And then she handed me an envelope. Open it, she said quietly. I thought it was a gift, concert tickets, maybe a handwritten letter, something thoughtful. But inside were divorce papers. I just stared at them, then looked up. Everything around me fell silent. Even the laughter from the next table over vanished. She didn't say anything, no explanation, no apology. Just that same quiet stare, as if she had rehearsed this moment. And I felt my chest tighten, like the air had disappeared. But I didn't react. I didn't yell, didn't break down. I calmly placed the envelope on the table, looked around at the people who had come to celebrate me, and thanked them again, this time with a soft voice and a hollow smile. Then I stood up and walked out the door. I didn't turn around, because some endings don't deserve a final glance. The silence after she walked out was louder than any scream. I sat there, frozen, my birthday cake untouched. Everyone around me was unsure. Do they say something? Do they get up and leave? My mother quietly placed her hand on mine, but I couldn't even feel it. My chest was heavy, like someone had dropped a stone inside it. My mind kept asking the same question over and over. Why would she do this here, like this? Later that night, I went back to our apartment, half hoping she'd be there to talk. But the door was already locked from the inside. Her suitcase was gone, her toothbrush, her favorite sweater, gone, like she had planned this for weeks. She didn't just file for divorce, she prepared to disappear from my life. And I was the only one who didn't see it coming. Over the next few days, I tried calling her. No response. Texted her. Please, just tell me what I did wrong. Nothing. Instead, I got served papers. That's how I found out she'd been seeing a lawyer. For 3 months. I sat alone on the couch we bought together, staring at those papers, like they were written in another language. My marriage wasn't just ending. It had already ended. I just hadn't caught up yet. The worst part? Nobody really knew what to say. Friends sent me short texts like, "Sorry, man," or "You'll be okay." But what do you say to someone who's been blindsided like this? Every morning, I woke up hoping it had been a nightmare. Every night, I fell asleep hoping I wouldn't dream at all. I wasn't angry, at least not yet, just confused and heartbroken. You knew she wasn't happy, right? That's what my best friend Marcus said when I finally picked up his call. I mean, you had to have seen signs. I wanted to scream, "No, Marcus." I didn't see signs. She kissed me every morning. She told me she loved me after dinner. She laughed at my stupid jokes, but I didn't say that. I just said, maybe I missed them. And he stayed quiet. Because what else do you say when the truth hurts more than the silence? 3 days later, I found out the truth. Not from her. From someone at her office. "She's been talking to that guy from finance," the girl said. Didn't think it was serious. But she used to smile a lot more when she messaged him. My heart didn't break. It shattered quietly. Not in one loud crash, but in soft cracks, like glass breaking beneath slow pressure. Why didn't she tell me? Why didn't she say she was unhappy? Why fake it for so long? I walked into our old bedroom. The bed still smelled like her shampoo. I sat on the edge, holding a photo of us from last Christmas. I whispered, "Did none of it mean anything to you?" The walls didn't answer. They never do, but my tears did. And for the first time since she left, I let myself cry out loud. I went back to the cafe where we had our first date. The waitress looked at me and smiled. "Your wife not joining you today?" I almost said no, she's at home. But then I remembered, she's not my wife anymore. And it's not her home anymore either. I said, "No, just me today." And the silence between us was louder than the espresso machine. The booth was still there. Same red leather. Same chipped corner on the table she always pointed out. I sat there, alone. 2 cups, 1 coffee. 1 ghost. I remembered how she laughed here. How she called me a dork for being nervous. How she accidentally dropped ketchup on my shirt and laughed for 10 minutes straight. But memories are liars, aren't they? They don't show you the cracks. They don't remind you of the nights she slept facing away. Of the days she forgot to text back. They only show you the smiles. The warmth. The version of her that doesn't exist anymore. And suddenly, that cafe felt like a graveyard. Not of people, but of moments. Of versions of me that believed we'd last forever. I left the tip on the table and walked out like I was leaving. A funeral. Only this time, the casket was filled with what-ifs. I stared at her name on my phone for hours. It still said my love, even though she wasn't mine anymore. Every time I unlocked the screen, it stared back, mocking me. Like a scar that refused to fade. Should I delete it? Should I rename it to? Just her name? Or maybe, just remove it completely? But my thumb hovered. Because deleting a contact felt like erasing a history book I still read before bed. Then came the worst part. She texted, "Hey, just wanted to let you know I dropped off the last of your stuff. It's in the box on the porch." That box hit harder than any goodbye, because it wasn't just clothes. It was the hoodie she always wore when she was cold. The books we read out loud on rainy Sundays. The photo frame we never hung because we kept moving apartments. I sat on the porch steps, box beside me, phone in my hand. "Thanks," I replied, and then I did it. BACKSPACE backspace. My love turned into her name. I saved the contact, but in my heart, she still had the old name. And I hated how healing feels like betrayal. Sometimes it's not about letting go of someone. It's about letting go of a version of yourself, the version that only ever existed in their eyes. It had been months. And yet, every time I looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize the person staring back. There was no light in his eyes, no excitement in his voice, no trace of the man who once believed love could fix anything. I had become a stranger, not because I lost her, but because I didn't know who I was without her. And one morning, I heard a knock at the door. It wasn't her. It was her little sister, holding a letter. "She asked me to give this to you," she whispered. My hands shook as I opened it. I know I broke both of us. But I want you to know, I never stopped loving you. I just didn't know how to love myself. You were kind, too kind, and I was drowning in guilt. I thought leaving was mercy. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was too broken. But if there's another life after this one, I hope we find each other there. And I hope we're better. I folded the letter with care, like it was glass. I didn't cry. Not this time. Instead, I made tea, sat by the window, and whispered to the wind, if we meet again, I'll love you quieter, softer, and I won't lose myself trying to keep you. Because that's what healing finally taught me. Some stories don't need happy endings, just honest ones. I folded the letter with care, like it was glass. And no, I didn't cry. Not this time. Instead, I made myself some tea, sat by the window, and whispered to the wind, if we meet again, I'll love you quieter, softer, and I won't lose myself trying to keep you. Because that's what healing finally taught me. Some stories don't need perfect endings. They just need honest ones. But maybe the real lesson isn't about love at all. Maybe it's about remembering who you are, even when someone forgets. How to love you right. We think heartbreak ends us, but sometimes it's the beginning of becoming who we were always meant to be. No bitterness, no revenge, just peace. So to anyone listening, maybe going through your own silent battles, just know you're not alone. It's okay to fall apart, as long as you don't stay there. And maybe, just maybe, the version of you who rises after this will be the strongest one yet. Before you go, tell me in the comments, have you ever healed from something that once shattered you? I read every word. If this story touched your heart, like it, share it with someone who needs hope. And subscribe for more stories that feel like a warm hand on your shoulder. Let's keep growing together.